Think we are good. We are live. Oh, we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marvel Bishop, and you are now listening to the NoWayButUp podcast. It's a great day. It is a fabulous day, not only because I'm doing what I love, but I'm doing what I love with one of my boys, one of my guys over here, just shutting it down over here in the H-Town. Oh, not H-Town, I'm sorry, but in H-Town. So listen.
I can't do that. I'm not from H.
So this gentleman besides me right here, man, he is one of my really, really good friends. I met him around 2013, 2014 in FIU, right?
Yeah.
Serial entrepreneur, just overall, just renaissance man, Mr. Toro Thomas, Mr. AJ. Oh, we're going by, can we call you AJ?
I mean,
okay, it's what it is. What's going on, man?
I really don't care.
What's going on, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Just living back in Miami. Just loving to be back home, really.
Yeah.
What about you?
Man.
How's everything going?
Everything's good. Happy holidays, first of all, everybody. Holidays been really good, getting ready for the new year. So, brought you over here because, you know, we definitely have common likes. We definitely have common interests. And we definitely see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Right.
So I want to bring it back to right before you left Miami, because you are a Miami boy. You from 305 Dade
County.
And how did it all get started? As far as like, you know, you making that change and you pretty much going to, like, you know, Houston. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Take as much time as you need.
If you're not actually from Miami, then you probably really don't know the real Miami. A lot of people just know South Beach itself, but people actually don't know, like, Miami. So I'm from South Miami, first off, and it's not the most glamorous place, but it is a place to where basically you either going to survive or you're just going to be one of the Joneses, basically like fitting in with society type of deal. Now, in regards to transition-wise,
Yes.
When all you know is just like the city, Miami itself, and you're trying to transition on to something else, like you're not going to be accustomed to change that much.
Okay.
And I know when I went from Miami to Houston, it was just like a culture shock to me, really.
It kind of came out of nowhere, really, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was just talking to you, and then, bloop, you in Houston. I'm like, well, first of all, so we're not friends? I was like, wait a minute, what the hell did that come from?
Yeah, so I went down to Houston one time. I had a couple games down in Houston. I played baseball, by the way, with everybody. And I was just like, man, I really want to go to Houston. And when I finally got down there, I was just like, okay, like, I kind of like the city. I saw a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and I was just like, look, they are making it out there. So if they can make it, I can make it. So, like, that was the first thing that I thought in my mind, and I was just like, okay, and I'm from Miami too, so, like, I can adapt and I can go anywhere I want.
Was there something that you were missing in Miami? That's the reason why you went to Houston? And I'm not trying to throw shade onto your hometown. I'm just making conversation.
At the time, I felt like Miami didn't have what I was looking for. And the biggest thing was like truly and honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to play pro baseball, and that's it. But, like, when I got hurt, I was just like, man, there's nothing out here really for me. So I want to go to a different city and be successful somewhere else, or try to be successful at least, and go from there. Now, I felt like, you know, the city at the time wasn't the best. A lot of my friends were either dying, getting caught up in the wrong clique gangs, and
the wrong
all this other
atmosphere,
stuff.
basically.
Yeah,
Okay, I got you.
I couldn't be around that anymore. Like, the whole negativity and all that other stuff, I just couldn't be around it anymore.
And sometimes you just need to just, like, you know, like, just uproot yourself in order to make changes that are definitely, you know, beneficial for yourself. Even though you really just don't want to do it, it's more of like okay, you know what, now, like, I really have to do this.
Yes.
So boom, go to Houston. What was next?
Go to Houston, and I was just like, look, I'm only going to be here for about a year or two.
Lies.
And that
Lies. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm only going to be here for about a year or two, so I'm just going to make the best out of this situation and just go from there. And then a year turns into 2 years. 2 years turns into 3.
Keep going.
3 turns into 4.
Keep going, pal. Keep
4
going.
turns into
Yeah.
5. So yeah, like I've been in Houston for a while, and then, you know, it's home right now.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
listen,
My
man.
friends are watching this. They're just like, oh, we don't like that answer. Whatever. You need to come back to Miami.
E.T. come home. Or AJ come home. Yeah. So when you when you went to Houston, what was the first thing that you got into? Because obviously you were always into sports, you were always into fitness, but I really felt like that business that you had really exploded in H-Town.
Okay, so you're talking about the fitness business?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So this is what people didn't know. In
Okay.
2013, I was finishing up my last class for my undergrad.
Oh, wow.
And I was trying to go into grad school too. So, FIU, boom, did that. Got that last class. Boom, went back to my home school.
Gotcha.
Boom, got the diploma. Boom, got my first job down in Houston. And in the midst of everything, like, I still only knew fitness because it was the only thing that I really taught myself. I was sleeping on basically one of my friend's couches for like almost like 6 months. And I was just like, man, I got to make some money. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, baseball isn't working out. Like, my family's back in Miami.
So
like,
at first
they need my
baseball,
help.
you were trying to like get into the MLB?
Yes, I
Okay.
was. It just didn't work out.
Okay.
Like, I was wasting time. I felt like I was wasting money. Like, it was just like,
Yeah.
I need this now. Like, type of deal.
I got you.
But yeah.
So, when you got into your fitness business, like, how did you know like that was basically like what you really wanted to do as far as like, or was it a point where like, you know what, nah, this is not really what I want to do. This is something that I have to do. Like, it was like more of like either I do this or I am done. I guess I'm right? Yeah. All right. Well, elaborate, please.
All right. So, have you ever told yourself like, hey, you know, if I can learn this in such and such amount of time, like basically like, you know, I'm kind of good from there. Or if I don't learn this in such and such amount of time, I'm just going to go back home.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. It was like more like a fight or flight type of thing.
Yeah.
Like either I pretty much, listen, I made my bed in Houston. I need to obviously like lay in it.
Yeah.
So it's either this is going to work
Or
out.
couch.
Or couch. Okay, couch. Yeah, okay. That's fine. And then basically just, if it works, cool. If it's not, then you pretty much go back to square one. But I know you, Mr. Toro Thomas, and I know you hate square one.
Yeah, I don't do well with failure at
Yeah.
all. Like, if I fail at something, that means like I have to take the time and sit there and try to perfect it and try to make sure that I know it like the back of my hand and kind of like be like, okay, look, like it's not gonna happen again.
So when you got to that point, so what was happening as far as like the process? Like,
All right.
go through it
So-
as far as like that business.
So I'm gonna take a step back. So
Okay, go ahead.
Living on the couch for a little bit, family situation, I had a lot of stuff going on at home. I told myself that I want to personally, sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I wanted to personally transform myself. So in order to be a good example, you have to make sure that you lead by example, right? So
Very true.
if you see somebody go out there and they're just like, hey, you know, I'm a bodybuilder. I do this, and that. Look at my biceps. Look at my triceps. You know, you're going to be like, okay, well, your arms aren't really that big. And like, you know, you're going to sit there and criticize a person, right?
Probably can't even freaking wipe your ass.
But everybody has a desire to do something. So like with the desire of making this my business, I wanted to transform my body personally. And I made a 30 to 60 day transformation. That was the first step.
Nice.
Right? And so when I saw that, I was just like, oh, shoot, look at my body. I got a little body on me. And I was just like, okay, well, let me see how far I can go with this. And then I started getting into nutrition a little bit more, started reading about it. And I took about 3 to 6 months studying nutrition, studying fitness. And of course, like I've been around fitness and all that other stuff like my whole life, but never took it seriously. So now I'm just like, okay, I transform my body and I'm doing this. Let's make this a lifestyle. And then on top of that, why not make money off of it?
What was the what were the roadblocks
Roadblocks, okay.
in developing that in your entrepreneurial journey?
So when you don't have a lot of money and you're trying to get into fitness, it's kind of tough because you have to buy what? Food. So there was a couple things that I had to do in order to buy that food. I had to work a little bit. Like somebody might have like an odd job, like cutting grass or something like that. Like I would do like little random stuff. And this is before I had my actual job. So, of course, I had some money saved up, too, but you don't want to spend the money that you have saved. So you need to make sure that you have a constant flow of income that's coming in. So, look, you had to do whatever you had to do. You had to cut grass, take trash out for people, different things like that.
Yo, can you say that for me one more time, please? You got to do whatever you friggin' have to do.
Exactly.
Because in 2018 right now, we got all these friggin' little people that feel like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur.
He tried to censor himself.
No, I was really about to go in just now. But you got this, listen, you got all these people out there that is just, just because they are basically an entrepreneur and they tag themselves in Instagram, that does not mean that you're a freaking entrepreneur. And guess what? If you are an entrepreneur, if you say you're an entrepreneur and you're not bringing in money, to the point where you're coming in, bringing in money every single time, then you need to do what you need to do basically to just make ends meet. And a lot of people are not about that. They're too damn bougie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I like about you, man, because at the end of the day, it's like, yo, you got no problem just getting dirty.
I don't care.
And doing your and do your thing.
Yeah, I don't care.
So when you so you're pretty much you're cutting grass, you're just doing all those things basically, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when you got your job, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, that was in the medical fields, right?
No. So I was working for a rental car company at the time. So that was my first job transitioning over from just doing the fitness thing, and then on top of that working too as well.
Okay.
So got into doing the rental car business. Worked my way up the ladder to becoming an assistant branch manager, which is also known as like the operational manager
Okay.
too as well. And like my boss, like when I first got the job, like when I tell you like, if you're not friends with me, I'm not really going to speak to you.
No, listen.
Like it's just a Miami thing.
No, it's a Mr. Capricorn thing. That's what that is.
Oh God, here we go.
Here we go for real. Nah, for real though, like that's just how you are. It's like, knowing you as a person is that it's always about, hey, listen, just once you accept people, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But so you're not gonna pretty much do that. So you were. This is pretty funny. So when you were going through and pretty much, just with your first business, basically, right? And then you go into your job. Like, how did you use your job to monetize your business to try to get you to the next level?
All right. So this is the crazy part, right? Like, so a lot of people, when they get a job, they don't expound their knowledge on how a job is supposed to operate, right? So, or how a business should operate. So each job or each business that you basically work for, they have a set rule or set structure of how like a business is supposed to be ran. Operations, procedures, processes, different things like that, accounting, all that other great stuff, right? A lot of people just disregard and they don't care about, well, each business or each industry that I got into, I learned more and more about the business and the industry itself, and I started mimicking little things that they had going on and witnessing like the little flaws that they had going on. So I try to make sure all the good stuff and all the documentation and everything else that they were kind of like doing, I was making sure I was doing that for my business too as well. And all the businesses or industries that I was working for, they're all pretty much kind of the same way, same structure. So I made sure that I was able to kind of follow up on that.
I got you.
Now, all the flaws, I try to make sure that I did not have any flaws in my business too as well. So you kind of live and learn. It's a process of learning. Like, hey, this is what works for the business, so this is probably going to work for my business too as well.
Okay.
Well, let's modify that a little bit because this is for fitness and not necessarily for X or Y or Z. So let's kind of modify it towards my business itself. Now, the flaws that you see in these different industries, you kind of try to cut that out altogether.
So, man, it's really crazy because a lot of people, they just have too much pride to just basically just work at a job basically, and they just, like, for instance, like for me, I know for me, like, I haven't had a job in like 4 years, and I know for sure I personally cannot go back to basically doing a job. But here's the thing, it's all about just learning. It's all about just having experiences, and having a job, to me, especially if you do have aspirations to become an entrepreneur, it's not all about just making the money and see how much money you can make for that business. It's about the tools, about the skill sets that you learn. Like, you learn accounting, you learn communications, you learn how to deal with people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because once you go through that, it's like a trial and error thing rather than you actually just going through that actually in your business.
Absolutely.
Because if you do go through that and you don't have that experience, it could be a one and done for your freaking business, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I've seen that happen to a lot of people's business around. They try to grow too quick and they don't know anything about the business aspect.
Yes,
they
sir.
only know, well, my friends like this, my family likes this, and that's it. Now, what happens when you meet a professional that is used to X, Y, and Z, and you're used to something else? So now you guys can't meet in the middle and communicate about that situation, right? So what happens then? Well, they're just going to have to go on. No, you just lost a customer. Then on top of that, word of mouth is so great now. So
it's the most powerful tool in marketing.
That's what I try to tell people. Like, your reputation is on the line every single day.
Protect your reputation with your life.
Yeah.
That's one of the 40 laws of power, Robert Greene. So obviously, that's not obviously the only thing that you're doing. So what was next?
We're talking about business-wise?
Yes, business-wise, or just anything. Business-wise. Yeah, let's talk about business-wise.
We're talking about brand, business,
anything.
Or
yeah, basically, because here I'm building this, Mr. Toro. Yeah,
okay.
So I'm building this because there's one important question that I have at the end that I need to know, that I personally need to know, and my audience definitely needs to know.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna ask that yet.
Don't ask
But what was next for you as far as, like, Toro Olympics, Toro Athletics, stuff like that. What else are you in?
So also, like, hobby wise, I do MMA, bodybuilding. I'm real creative, so I like to make desks, different things like that, masks, all this other stuff. And
were you low key helping people move too?
Okay, so wait. You talking about for the hurricane or for?
Well, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about in general.
Okay, so low key, I didn't have a moving service.
Yeah.
But basically, I was helping move people, if they needed assistance, moving. But I wasn't really charging people nothing.
No, of course. But
it was just helping.
But also back to the hurricane though, you were definitely a huge part in support for the Houston community. Yeah. So you want to just touch up on that just a little bit.
So, man, what year was that? Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago? Yeah. So 2 years
Tyler,
ago.
Right? That was in Tyler, Houston?
No. It was in Houston.
It was in Houston? Okay,
yeah, it was in Houston. So 2 years ago, I want to say it was roughly 2 years ago, Harvey hit. And then when Harvey hit, I know a lot of people in the city, they really panicked and a whole bunch of stuff. It was just complete mayhem. Now, I'm from Miami. So I am so used to hurricanes hitting at least 3 to 4 times.
This is Hurricane City. So we already know how to handle stuff, honestly,
So, every time a hurricane used to hit down here in Miami, my dad, he always used to light up the pit, and he used to basically invite all the neighbors over, and then we all used to eat. We also used to chill, and then, FP&L used to come probably either that week or 2 or 3 weeks later, turn on all the power. We had the bathtubs filled with water. We had, we know this. You
were ready. You were ready. Yeah.
When you're born and you're raised around this, your whole life, you know what to do.
Yes, sir.
Now, in Houston, a hurricane or a flood is kind of fairly new to them, but at the same time, it's not, because it's been happening so often lately. And it's just kind of crazy because the city is under sea level, certain parts. And when I tell you everything was flooded, everything was flooded.
How crazy was that, yo?
Yo, my car almost got flooded a couple times. I managed to drive up on a little hill or something like that. Yeah. But I was just yo, this is crazy around here. We got to invest in some drainage systems
some
around here
or something. Yeah.
And so my friends and I, we decided to come together, and I was just like, look, man, like there's a whole bunch of people out here that have no idea how to survive in a hurricane. Bro, we have got to help out as much as we can. We reached out to another person. We reached out to another person, to another person, to another person. I think, like, undisclosed, like, we donated at least, like, over $100,000
Wow.
worth of material, like, items. And it's on my Instagram, too,
Wow,
but,
good
like,
shit. Definitely.
it's a lot of stuff. Like, we found trucks. Actually, we used to load this stuff. Like, furniture. We were cleaning people's houses out. It was just me and a group of my friends. Like, it was crazy.
Do you see you being so just selfless and you being just so willing to help others? Did you see, or were they was there a moment where people started to gravitate towards you, like, for not just for business, just pretty much for you as well too, like, because I really felt like that to me, like, because I definitely watch you on Instagram, like that selfless act, and obviously you're not really looking for anything, but like that really,
I don't need nothing.
but that I think that really changed low key, like your image in Houston, to the point where, like, this is the guy, like this is like the person. So I don't know, like, it's an interesting question. I just wanted to see what you think.
I don't know. It may have, it may not. I personally don't know. I just, look, my thing is that when it comes to helping people, I love to help people, because my family, my friends, like people around me, they have been in a hard situation for X amount of time, and to see somebody help another person out, like, that's something that makes me happy.
And just basically just give, without expecting anything in return. And
Right.
That's pretty much the beautiful thing.
Right.
So, okay. See here. This is a horrible segue, but I'm just horrible at segues, but whatever. We're just gonna get through. So, you said that you were in bodybuilding, you were in MMA.
Yes.
And you are basically building your own brand.
I am.
So talk about
My brand?
Yes.
All right. So my brand is called Toro Athletics. It's been out for about 2 years now, so it's just been maturing little by little over time. And I'm trying to get it just built up to a point to where I'm just like, hey, it's just time to release it to the masses and just go from there. But for right now, it's just going to sit back and it's going to, mature little by little. It's an athletic brand, and with this athletic brand, I wanted to really inspire people and be like, hey, when they wear this, they're just like, hey, I feel strong when I go in the gym. I feel strong when I walk into the hospital. I feel strong when I'm hanging around my friends. Like, it has a little bit of meaning behind it. I guess I'll go into a little bit later.
Okay, if you want. No, go into it now.
Go into it now.
Go into it now. Yeah, we're talking about now.
So a lot of people see me walking around with this chain around my neck, and they think that it's just on some Omega stuff, Q-Dog stuff, and it's not necessarily about that. I was actually wearing the chain prior to, crossing over.
Okay.
And basically, that's how the name came about and going from there. So there's a deeper meaning. There's a deeper story behind it. I have a YouTube video coming out actually pretty soon in January about that.
Well,
so,
you did have a small video.
Yes,
Did I film that? Yeah. I filmed that. No, I did film that.
No, wait. I think you did pieces of it.
Yeah, but but you had other video basically of like the entire meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I didn't film that one, but I didn't remember that.
Yeah. You did.
So just lightly touch upon that.
Okay, about the chain just itself. All right, so long
because the
stories-
chain obviously is the story of why you built your business at the same time.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, so we gotta let's dive into it.
So for those who don't know, the reason why I wear the chain is because my cousin, he died. And it was one of the ways that I could kind of remember like him per se. So like my goal was to become one of the best fitness personnels, like just for myself, for self-attainment. And I noticed that I was getting distracted a lot, so I decided to put a chain on and kind of wear it, and then kind of just go from there, because it kept me focused the whole time. But there's more to go into details about that. And
I got a question.
What's up, man?
does the chain and your work ethic and your Toro method, you should coin that, by the way, your Toro method of just basically literally just, just doing, I don't want to say you're doing everything, but you're doing a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Does the chain and the weight of the chain, does that correlate with you basically putting a lot on your plate? I'm good. I know I'm good. I'm good, bro.
You're good. So yeah, it does correlate.
Okay.
So you and probably maybe a couple others have actually figured that out. The real meaning behind the chain, and there's probably more that you probably figured out too. We're just gonna leave it as that.
That's fine. Share as much as you want. It's all good.
But yeah, it does symbolize that I have a lot on my plate. Basically.
So, back to your inspirations to
Okay.
basically just doing everything that you do. Who are your inspirations?
My cousin Jonathan, aka Fada Grizzly. So like you'll see hashtags of Fada Grizzly, Jonathan. That's my older cousin who was my best friend.
Okay.
He died basically due to health reasons, and that's the reason why I wear my chain. Another inspiration, actually, this is kind of crazy. To me, it's kind of crazy. It's two WWE. I think it was. Yeah. John Cena and The Rock.
That is not crazy at all.
Is
I
he
have
in
like
the-
three
no?
WWE superstars that are my inspiration. Trust me, and not only The Rock, John Cena too, and freaking Batista.
Yes, oh man,
yes,
that dude
Batista's
is a beast.
definitely.
Dude is a beast. Dude is a serious beast.
Okay, that's good. And then why are they your inspirations?
All right, so my cousin, obviously, he's the reason why I got into fitness. When I first seen a magazine about The Rock, I was just like, yo, I could do the same thing he does.
There you
like,
go.
We the same complexion.
Talk about a king.
Like, yeah.
Talk about a king. Okay.
And then, so like when I saw The Rock in this magazine, I saw his story and, him playing at UM and all this other stuff. I was just like, man, I could do the same thing he could do. Like, that's how I got off the couch and I decided to take the fitness thing to another level.
Nice.
And I saw John Cena. His story was kind of the same thing. I think he was like eating pizzas out of, I don't know, like he was just.
He was like super overweight, right? Or just like
can't
unhealthy.
remember.
He was just unhealthy.
Yeah, he was either eating unhealthy or something like that, and he just transpired to just be this person to just like, hey, like I want to help the youth and do all this other stuff, but like his story was kind of similar to where how he started off at zero and then boom, look at him now. And The Rock's story was the same thing, even though like his family was into fame a little bit already. The Rock still had to work for his own to where he's at right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he had to build his empire.
We can't take that. Yeah, we definitely cannot take that away
You can't take that out of consideration.
So, okay, that's good. So we were talking about your chain and pretty much like how you were basically a person that is.
Too much.
Listen, I don't say do too much, man, because I do too much too. But guess what? Like, there's not anything that what God give us basically that we can't handle. That's how I really feel. So, the $1 million question.
Oh Jesus!
How do you basically balance all of these things that we've talked about? And this could be a great beginning of the Toro method.
All right, so
I want my royalties, man. I'm just saying, I'm putting you on game right now, my dude. Like, for real. How?
All right, so there's a couple methods, and I don't tell people about these methods.
Okay,
right?
all right.
So there's two things. One, I have a calendar at my house. It's a erase board, and I write all my goals, my financial plans, my day-to-day activities, and what I inspire to be every day, and what I want to do between my 1, 5, and 10 years. The second thing is in my phones that I have, I set up an alarm. So my alarms go off every 2 to 3 hours to make sure that I'm doing a set priority. Recently, I just got on doing my Wonder List, Wonderoo. list or something like that.
Wanderer list.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah.
So basically, it tells me all my
Wanderer
tasks. Yeah. So basically, it tells me all my tasks that I have to do within that day, that week, or that month. So it keeps me in line, and it makes sure that like I'm sticking to my priorities. Now I do deviate from I'm human.
You're human, everybody. Yeah, I mean,
but it keeps me on track.
I mean, to be honest with you, this interview is kind of a deviation.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and that's really what's great about you, because even though you do have all these methods, you have all these protocols, you are okay with being vulnerable, basically, to just make mistakes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
even though you said in the beginning, you said you don't like making mistakes, you hate failure.
Hate it.
It's kind of a contradiction, pal.
Shh, calm down.
But seriously, but I really think like that's like the beauty about you is that even though you hate failure and you do not like making mistakes, you don't let it consume you.
No.
So do you have any way to make sure that there's not any type of mental methods that you have to make sure that does not consume you, since you are a person who battles with hating failure? How do you combat that?
I think like it can go a couple ways, right?
That's fine.
So one thing that I started noticing is that when people are disgusted or do not like certain things that are going on with their life, people start to get upset and really angry with themselves. So now that you are getting upset and you're angry, you are wasting time sulking or basically thinking about that situation, when you could be more proactive and just be like, hey, we're just going to take that as that L real quick. And we need to just learn from that situation real quick. So all in short, I don't sit and sulk about the L or the loss that I just took. I try to make that moment kind of like a learning lesson.
Okay.
And kind of just go from there and be like, look, that's not going to happen again. And if it does happen again, basically, I have to tighten up and I have to get better. And then just
no
keep
mistakes,
going from
only
there.
lessons at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's really funny too, because I've never seen you angry. Well, no,
I've been angry a couple
times. I've lied, which we will talk off air. I'm not going to say when you were perturbed, very perturbed, and you're gonna perturbed. You're gonna laugh your face off when I tell you the story. Okay, all right. So just to wrap up, because I know you gotta go.
Yeah.
But based off of the podcast, but based off the interviews and everything you've pretty much been listening to with the NoWayButUp podcast, right, and the brand and the mantra, to you, what does NoWayButUp mean?
There has been so many failures that you have probably encountered. There have been so many deviations that you've probably seen or probably experienced, that if you keep progressing, keep learning, and keep an open mind on how to progress in life, then you have no choice but to go up. Like if your number one ideal is to be the best in the world, like you want to be that person who's going to succeed no matter what. So you wanting nothing but up is really going to be based off of you and your mentality, or basically being like, hey, I've been through all this trial and error. So look, we learned from it. Now it's time to get some money and go from there.
Yeah, definitely. And then also too, just short-term memory with failures. Short-term memory with failures, and just basically just moving forward and just basically taking everything that you've learned to basically better yourself. So
that's deep. Straight from Marvel.
Yo, Toro, man. It's been a pleasure, like for real. I want to thank you for coming through, kicking it with the kid, and definitely doing this podcast interview. Listen, guys, if you have any other shameless plugs which you like to put in, now's your time. Beep.
I appreciate it again, man. Thank you very much for having me out here.
Absolutely.
Thank you at the I don't even know what to call this. Look, I can see. Yo, chill. Oh, okay. I'm not even gonna tell y'all about the scenery.
But what I'm saying though is that, like, where can we find you? That's what I mean.
All right, so on Instagram you can find me at I am Toro Thomas. Facebook's gonna be the same. Twitter's gonna be the same too as well, and my YouTube's gonna be the same as well. Actually, my YouTube might just be Toro Thomas.
Okay,
but
we'll plug everything in the bio. Toro, man.
But you can find me in Houston.
Yes, sir.
I'll be in Miami for about
A couple
Two
more
more
days.
days.
Yeah, two more days, pretty much. Thank you, Toro. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody,
Sir.
for listening, man.
Hey.
No way but up.
Y'all have a good one.